takes us to the border, specifically the U.S.-Mexico border, as both President Biden and former President Donald Trump are going to be visiting the southern border today. They are expected to touch down any moment now. And again, this just highlights the importance and the growing focus on the border crisis and the issue of immigration. So Biden is expected to touch down in Brownsville, Texas at 2:35 Eastern. Trump is expected to arrive in Eagle Pass, Texas shortly thereafter at 2:55 Eastern time. In December, a record number of immigrants came into the United States from the southern border, overwhelming Border Patrol and the systems in place. And recently, a number of violent events involving immigrants have raised concern about national security. We do want to bring in Representative Monica de la Cruz, who represents the 15th District in Texas. Representative de la Cruz, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us.
Thank you for having me.
So first question that I have for you, of course, President Biden and former President Donald Trump are heading to Texas and will be landing any moment now. What is your message to them on the issue of the border, security, and immigration?
Well, first, let's call President Biden's trip to the border exactly what it is. It's a photo op. He has not been there in 3 years. He was not there when in South Texas we had the crisis of a lifetime happening in the Rio Grande Valley. He has failed South Texas and he has failed Americans. Now he sees that he's losing the Hispanic vote along the border, and that's why he's showing up today. Now, for President Trump has been to the border over and over again. We've seen how he stands by our Border Patrol and custom agents and with our Hispanic communities along the border.
Yes, and President Trump did visit the border just about a year ago, but you're on the ground. You have eyes in this area, and part of your district actually does touch the border of Mexico. What are you seeing? What is the reality there? What are the people in your district sharing with you?
Well, the reality of the situation is that it's putting immense pressure on our local communities, everything from the healthcare system to our law enforcement. Our local law enforcement has to go and back up our Border Patrol and custom agents with the illegal immigration crisis. And what that does is that leaves our communities without the law enforcement protection that they pay for. Now, while we live in a safe community, it just isn't fair that we have local communities doing the federal government's job.
Absolutely. And like you said, much of your district and Texas bearing the brunt. And I'm curious, because there's only a finite amount of resources, what in your eyes is the best solution to address this issue?
Well, the House Republicans came up with the best solution May of last year when we passed H.R. 2, Secure the Border Act. It had the policies that Trump put in place that we saw worked. Everything from the Remain in Mexico and ending the catch and release program. It's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk since May of last year. However, the Senate and the Democratic Party, they want to play games, put pork in packages and send it off to us. The fact of the matter is we have a program in place, legislation in place. Now we've got to have the Senate and the president get behind it.
I have a question for you, because a lot of people have been saying one solution is to just close down the border. Is that a solution in your eyes?
At this point, we have had over 10 million illegal immigrants cross our border. We've had close to 200 terrorists caught from the terrorist watch list. We are right now in the greatest national security crisis that you and I will see in our lifetime, probably in the lifetime of this country. I think all options need to be on the table, but what we need is the president to put policies in force that work. Stop the catch and release program and put in the Remain in Mexico program.
Because there are so few judges when it comes to hearing the cases of asylum seekers. Some asylum seekers are actually spending 7 years in the United States before their case is called. There has been a growing concern about safety and security and violence. And I'm curious, from your perspective, being in the 15th District of Texas, have you seen crime rise in the area?
Our area continues to be one of the safest areas in the country. Why? Because we have great local community leaders and they are working with our state representatives. Governor Abbott has done a phenomenal job of taking these illegal immigrants who have crossed our border and shipping them to places like Georgia, New York, Colorado, where we see crime rising. In New York, we've seen law enforcement come into clash with illegal immigrants that are there, harassing some of our local law enforcement. And just sadly, we saw in Georgia the brutal, savage murder of a student. Crime is rising because of Biden's illegal immigration crisis all over the country.
On the other side, there are some people who say that immigrants are coming to the U.S. to seek a better life, and that's all they want. What would you say to people who believe that?
I think that we live in the greatest country on this planet, and I don't blame anyone for wanting to come to America to seek a better life. I think I stand with most Americans when they say we welcome legal immigration because this is a great country and there's lots of opportunity. We just want you to come in legally, and that's the difference.
Representative Monica De La Cruz, I know you do have a very important vote to get to, so I do appreciate you taking the time to speak with us here on Live Now from Fox.
Thank you.